Hey guys, it's Chef Andrea here, and we are podcasting about curry. We've been doing a few little curry podcasts here. If you're just finding me on YouTube, welcome. I have a podcast that is talking a little bit about how to make your curries at home pop a little bit. I have a podcast out that's about love or hate the great curry debate. It talks a little bit about the base flavor profile of curry to give us an idea of what it is about that we're either really drawn to or we find ourselves kind of fighting against. So you can look for both of those out there. And what I'm going to do with this little podcast is talk about curry varietals. I'm not going to, listen, I could hang out with you for 4 hours talking about curry varietals from the southwest corner of India alone, and we would never get there. There are 1 trillion ways to make curry, okay? And every single curry cook has their own secrets. Blend of 6 spices, blend of 60 spices. It is sky's the limit. We'll never get them all covered. What I'm going to share with you today in this podcast about types of curry are just some thoughts about some generalizations about curries from India and Japan and Thailand. And to give us some idea of how, depending on the country of origin, where we are, how those profiles might change a little bit. And when those flavors change slightly, you might discover that there is one path that's taken that really jazzes you up. And if that's the case, that's cool because it will start to give you an idea of the types of curries you might want to be making at home with your own time. But it also might start giving you some ideas about when you go out to eat. I'm at a Thai restaurant. Is that a curry that I want? I'm at an Indian restaurant. Is that the curry that I want, right? So give you a little thought about that. Okay, let's talk about basic curries. Again, if you're interested in sort of the breakdown of flavor profile that of curry in general, that's in another podcast, episode number 2. So let's talk about types of curry. And I'm going to start with the most basic. This red bottle that I picked up at the grocery store, and it just says curry powder. I mean, could that be any more generic if it tried? Curry powder. 11 herbs and spices, perfectly blended. Is it? I bet it's nicely blended. Okay, what is in this basic curry powder? First, one thing you can tell is that it's got a bright color to it. It's yellow. Well, not super bright, but it definitely isn't brown. I think it's got a kind of golden color to it. So I already know at a glance that there is ground turmeric in this bottle because that's what's bringing this really pretty yellow color to it. There's another one out there. This one considers itself Jamaican. Look how yellow that is. You know, you can tell that's definitely not just brown. So I know at a glance, looking at this tub, that there's going to be ground turmeric listed in these spices. But this one starts with coriander. It has some turmeric, cumin, black pepper, bay leaves, celery seeds, nutmeg, clove, onion, ginger, and some red pepper. That combination is about as absolute 50-50 what we call sort of warm baking spices that really define a classic standard Indian curry to me. So clove, ginger, nutmeg, to the very warm, what I call kind of chili spices, onion, garlic, and cumin. Cumin. When we balance those out, in my humble opinion, we get the most basic Indian curry that there is. Then we throw some turmeric at it for some beautiful antioxidant properties and some gorgeous color. It doesn't bring a lot of flavor. It's really more about the color, maybe some of the texture. It brings some of the texture to the curry powder. That is, to me, like I've got a map of India and I throw a dart. Boom. Yellow curry powder. Some base version of those 6 spices will be in every curry powder that's available throughout India. But I'm here to tell you that if you knocked on 10 doors in one neighborhood in India and asked them for their curry powder recipe, you would get 27 answers. These are as personal to the day of the week, what kind of mood mom's in, certainly what's available, maybe time of year, but the grounding base part of it is going to be ground cumin, some onion and garlic, and then some baking spices, as we call them. Garam spices, they call them in India. So clove, nutmeg, ginger, that sort of thing. Throw a dart at it, Indian yellow curry. If you're unsure about curries, if you've never tried them, that's where I want you to start. Just start with it. And when you get it home, just open it up and give it a smell. It's so beautifully balanced with that really aromatic kind of pungent cumin, and then balanced out with that gorgeous nutmeg and clove, and the cardamom that's in here is lovely as well, kind of lemony and citrusy at the same. It's just really beautiful. So basic yellow curry powder, that is where I would start. I've never made a curry at home, chef. What am I going to do? You're going to go buy a tub of curry powder and see what you can create. I mean, really, I like to use this as a dry rub. I'll just rub it onto chicken and roast it and call it curried chicken over jasmine rice. That's a really easy way to start, right? Dry rub curry powder onto some chicken thighs with a little bit of kosher salt, 425 degrees until the chicken thighs are 165 internal temperature, and serve with jasmine rice that you pulled out of your rice cooker. Man, that's an easy dinner and absolutely delicious. I dry rub shrimp and seafood with curry powder as well. Dry rub them on, put them under the broiler for a few minutes, and out comes, we do a local catch here called triple tail that is so yummy with curry powder, or some really beautiful local shrimp, something like that. Another type of curry that you're going to spot all the time at restaurants is Thai-style curry, Thai, Thai-style curry. Thai curries, so the throw a dart at it, Indian curries are generally powders. And you can buy the whole spices, toast them, and grind them yourself. Podcast number 1 gives you a lot more information about that concept. So if you're just finding us and want to look for that, you can. But Indian curries are typically these powders that are worked into dishes, and then sauces and things are made up with them. Thai-style curries are often the powder has been fried in with vegetable oil. And then a lot of fresh herbs are added as well. And so Thai-style curries, rather than being these dry powders, tend to be these canned pastes. That's tricky. But you can see this one. I'll hold that up. It's a green curry paste. And you can see it just says green curry paste. And I like this brand. I'll turn that can so you can read that brand a little bit better. This is a brand that I like. And so Mastery. I look for her. See the little, let me see if I can find her. See the little Thai mama there? That's who I look for. If I can see her on the can, then I buy that can. I like her. I like her products. My little Thai mama there. Green curry paste. These curries are nice because they fry up in a saute pan, and then you can add a little bit of stock or coconut milk, and you have just this instant curry sauce ready to go. Let's see what's in this one, though. So we've moved away from just dried spices, which were the ground cumin, turmeric for some color, onion, garlic, and then what we call our baking spices, or our garam spices in Punjabi. And so that's going to be our cinnamon and clove and nutmeg. We've moved away from that, and we're moving into some fresh things now. So this can has fresh chili pepper as its first ingredient, and clearly that's going to be green chilies because this is green curry paste. And then we have garlic and ginger, so again, fresh, not dried, but garlic and ginger. We have shallots, so there's our onion, but instead of dehydrated onion powder, like we get in these styles, this is actually shallots. And then lemongrass, sweet basil, kaffir lime. There's our cumin. We know from episode number 2 that cumin is always going to be the base of curries. It just doesn't, everywhere I go, whether I see Thai curries, Japanese curries, Malaysian, cumin's always in there. Then we've got those beautiful warm spices, the cardamom, coriander, but this one also has, some turmeric. There is a bit of a yellow color to this green paste. And then galangal, so another part of the ginger family. And that kaffir lime, I have a kaffir lime tree here, and we just pull the leaves off and use the leaves. Like I might even add them to this curry paste while it's cooking up with some coconut milk. Throw a couple of torn kaffir lime leaves in there. It brings this beautiful aromatic lime to a dish. And then you take the leaves out. You don't eat them. But so green curry paste, there we are. We've still got our base cumin, as we suggested we would, but we've really gotten a lot more herbaceous. That's such a big word I get to use. We've gotten a lot more herbaceous when we moved into Thailand, and sweet herbs like that basil and ginger and galangal. So that's a really nice one. If you've had like an Indian style curry and you weren't a big fan and kind of couldn't figure out why everybody else was going bananas for curries, maybe this guy just isn't your cup of tea. You might do better with something that has more of an herb and chili profile than the dry spice profile, right? So might be worth giving it a shot. Now, I just mentioned that one of the things I like to add to this guy is coconut milk or stock. And that brings me to another curry powder, which we get from Spice and Tea Exchange here, and I'll put the link up to their website as well. Spice and Tea does so many beautiful curry blends. They have a Thai blend that's called a coconut Thai blend. And the reason I wanted to bring this guy up and talk about this coconut Thai blend is I think this is a good example of where we might have gotten exposed to a dish that was introduced to us as curry. We didn't love it, and we decided that that meant curries were out for us. And as it turns out, what we're not fans of, not me, but I'm just giving you an example, is coconut. What if what you really don't love is coconut, and the only curry you were ever given was a coconut Thai curry? Or the only green curry you ever had was made with coconut milk, not chicken stock? See, there's a good example of how we sort of group things together and go, oh, I'm not a curry fan. I tried it once. It was terrible. Actually, what you're not is a coconut fan, and so coconut curries don't fly for you. But don't throw out everything based on that, right? Because you might discover that even this straight up Thai curry, minus the coconut milk plus vegetable or chicken stock, is wonderful. So herby and delicious, right? So I just want to mention that as well. If you are not a big fan of curries, could it have been that you got exposed to one that was super heavy in a single ingredient that one doesn't have to be in every curry, right? And two, even if it were, you could eliminate it by making your own curries at home and not adding coconut. So Thai-style curries, they tend to be these pastes. I want to mention that this particular one, this exact one, this green curry paste, is gluten-free, but I have bought this same brand in other ones, red or yellow. I don't remember which one. There's about 9 different ones in this can, and at least one of them, it has gluten in it. What's in here is a paste. Like I said, they've fried up all the herbs and the dried spices and bound them with vegetable oil. And so there is at least a varietal or two of this same brand that also has added some amount of flour, like a roux, to that paste. So it makes a thicker sauce, is my guess. Very easily makes a thicker sauce. So there's some base flour in it. Not all of them. This one does not. But if gluten is an issue, I want you to pay attention to the can that you buy of this brand and double check it, okay? Because they don't all have gluten in them. Now, speaking of gluten in sauces, this one does. So this is a golden curry, and now we're going to move into a Japanese-style curry. What I like about, I'm going to give you pros and cons on this little packet. Okay, here's the con. This is a pre-packaged product, which I want you to cook from scratch as often as you possibly can. And processed foods are just not my favorite answer to things. I think we need to avoid processed foods as often as we can. But also, I, like you, have a really crazy life. And occasionally, I just need to get dinner on the table. And thank you, processed foods, for showing up on occasion and making that possible in under 15 minutes. So you know what I mean? There's a place now and then. What I like, so that's the con. It's a processed food product, right? And so this is, it's got some palm seed oil in it, which I know doesn't work, or palm oil, not palm seed, palm oil, which doesn't work for everybody. But what this guy is a really good example of a Japanese-style curry. Unlike our Indian-style curry, and our Thai-style curry, right? The Japanese-style curry is very low on the what we're calling baking spices or warm spices side of the equation. This one really is about the savory ingredients like garlic, chili pepper, and ground cumin. This one is not heavy at all in cinnamon, clove, nutmeg, etc. In fact, I'm not sure that there's much of any of that in here. So if you are new to curries, or if you've watched our video on the love or hate curry debate and are willing to attempt maybe some curry at home, but you know you have somebody that's not a coconut fan, and you're worried you have somebody who's not a warm spice fan, but you know for a fact that your family loves chili and they love Taco Tuesday, this could be a good starting point for them because it's so cumin based, and that's the base formula for chili and tacos. But what this guy is, so he's a good starter place. That's in the pros list, in the pros and cons of this product. The pro list is, boy, is he a good starter. He is so mellow, and he comes in a bunch of different varieties. This one is hot. He comes in mild, medium, medium hot, hot, and extra hot. So there's a lot of options for spice in this particular one. But by the way, even the extra hot is not all that hot to me. So just so you know, I didn't think it was all that spicy. But golden curry. So what these are little tubs of a sauce mix. And so it just goes into a pot with a cup of water or stock, and it just makes instant sauce. And therefore, what these are little cubes of roux, R-O-U-X, roux, the base of sauces. And so the first two ingredients in this are wheat flour and vegetable oil, because that's the roux that they've made. So if gluten is an issue, this guy's 100% out. No way, no day. He's always wheat-based because he's a roux in a box. This guy is fine, but some of his cousins might have gluten, so watch that. But I will put my basic chickpea curry recipe on the website, achefs.com, and you can print that out, and that uses these golden curry cubes. It's such an easy place to start with curry. And here at the cooking studio, I always serve chickpea curry with my knife skills class, and it's how I introduce a lot of people to curry that were super on the fence, or maybe even knew they hated curry, and they'll try that chickpea curry and go, hey, that's actually not crazy. What's happening here? Well, what's happening is it's just basically it's cumin and onion, all of those types of spices. So, and it is yellow. When you make the sauce, you'll see it has a yellow color to it, and that's that turmeric in there as well. So Japanese, I think that's a good starting point. If you're unsure about curries at home, that's where you start. Now, as far as Indian curries go, if you're just starting, just go grab a tub of some basic yellow all-purpose curry powder. Give it a shot. But branch out, get into Spice and Tea Exchange, for example, a good local spice shop, and ask them. My Spice and Tea Exchange, she's got to carry 10 different curry styles. Ask them which ones are really spicy hot. Ask them which ones are very aromatic, which ones are heavy in ginger, if that's your thing. And try a few different ones. I think they're really exciting as far as that goes. And then if you're ready to deep dive, you have got to get into the world of Indian curries the real way. Like, get into a really good Indian cookbook that goes region by region by region by region throughout India and looks at all the different spice blends and why they start to vary as you get coastally versus central into India. You can have a lot of fun deep diving into Indian spice blends for curries as well. So a few varietals to think about. I hope that that's helpful. Shoot me a few questions if you have them. You can put them in the comments below. You can contact me through my website, achefs.com. And so that is about the wrap up on curries that I have at the moment. As I said, I'll put a few recipes on the website that you can print down. If you like and subscribe us on YouTube, we appreciate that very much. If you get into subscribing with us through our podcast forum, the paid subscribers there ultimately get much bigger collections of recipes. So I have a whole curry download that you'll get through that platform that is called About Curries. And we go into a little bit more detail there in a written format of some of those base spices, what they smell or taste like, and then a good collection of recipes to get you practicing some of these at home. So that's an option as well. But regardless, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to next time. Send me your questions to the website or in the comments below. And I hope you'll try some curries. Don't be frightened. Listen, did you know that curry is the #1 most eaten food on the planet? So cross-culturally, how about that? And I always tell folks who aren't sure about curry, 1 billion people probably aren't wrong. So let's give it a shot, see what we think. All right, guys, I hope you're having a delicious day. We'll look forward to seeing you next time.